Hello, Scrappy Crafters. This is Renee with Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts, here to show you a quick storage solution for your 6x6 paper. I received this idea from Rhonda Wade, a fellow stamper, and then I was challenged by my friend Lois to show you my take on it. So to get started, the original design is to hold 6x6 paper, so you'll want a pack of paper. I'm using my Take Your Pick, a pair of snips, a paper trimmer. You'll need a strong adhesive, so you could either use tear and tape or you could use Stampin' Seal Plus. You could use glue, but you'll have to hold it for a moment while it dries. Then you'll need a piece of thick cardstock that's 8.5 by 11. It could be the basic white or the vanilla. You could try it with cardstock. It might be a little too flimsy though. And then stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to do an alternate version with a 12 by 12 backer. So and another optional thing you'll want is a label maker, or if you have neat handwriting, you could use your hand, but I'm using a label maker. So to get started with the original design, we're going to take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and we are going to score all three sides at 1 7/8 and then at 2 3/8. So 1 7/8, 2 3/8 on three sides. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to let you know that per our annual catalog release, we will have an increase in pricing. All cardstock is going up in price. Again, this is 1 7/8 and 2 3/8 on all three sides. The white and very vanilla will also be changing in the count of pages. So we'll go from 40 sheets to 24 sheets, and so then it'll be in line with all of the colored cardstock. So now that I've scored all three sides at 1 7/8 and 2 3/8, I'm going to come back into my trimmer, and then on my top score line, the score line closest to the top of my paper, I'm going to set that in the groove. You could use your snips and do this, but I feel like it's quicker to use my trimmer. And I'm going to cut to the second score line. So we'll go there, and then you can see where it's cut, and I'm going to go up to the top and do the same thing, come down, and then I'll slide over to my next score line, put it in the groove, and repeat the process. Right there and there. And then all I have left is to take my snips and cut off this little tab. I feel like I get a smoother cut and it's quicker. We'll cut that one off, and then we'll cut this one, maybe. There we go. Okay, then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to line up our paper at 4 1/4. And then when we're at that 4 1/4, we're going to put a tick mark on both sides of the paper, and that's going to help us guide the cut that is my take on the storage container. So see this first score line right here? I want that in the groove, and then I want my tick mark in the groove. Line those up and then cut them off, and we'll do the same with the other side. I'm going to put my tick mark in the groove, and then I'm going to put the first score line in the groove. Cut those off, and then you'll see how this one's different. So in the original design, Rhonda had us cut off about 1 3/4 from there. It does make your flap a little sturdier, but mine is going to come all the way down to here. So that's it for the trimmer on this design. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our bone folder. I do have it here. I'll use my old one. You're going to take your bone folder, and you're going to burnish all of your score lines. And this will help the box line up, be straight. Also a reminder that in May we get our new catalog which the exciting part is we get 5 new in colors. Every year we get 5 new in colors, and every year they take out 5 in colors. It just happens to be that this year they're taking out my favorite set of colors. I'm really an earth tone person, and they are taking out Pebbled Path, Boho Blue, Moody Mauve, Wild Wheat, and I feel like there's another one. I'm drawing a blank on it. Anyway, they're taking them out. So if you enjoy those colors, you are going to want to stock up on the paper. And if you have the ink pad, you may want to buy an extra refill to be able to continue using your pad. So now I'm going to take my tear and tape, and on this little piece right here, I'm going to put a piece of tape. It's going to help it stay secure and not move around. You know, when you have a box, the inside flap tends to move, and when you're working with thin paper, that can be frustrating. So I did that on the outside. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put tape from this crease all the way out. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm going to take a piece and put it on the edge. And I'm going to put a piece right here. Do the same on the other side. Like I said, you can do this with Stampin' Seal Plus. I just don't happen to have any in stock right now, so I'm using tear and tape, and I didn't want you to have to wait while I use my favorite, which is glue. So, okay, now I'm going to take your pick, and I'm going to pop off all of the protective edges. We'll set those aside. This is going to go together really quick. And then when I post the video, I will show my before and afters. And if you're like me, you have to rummage through your packs to figure out which one you want. Well, these containers, if you label them, you'll be able to visually see, just like the stamp sets. It's a nice alternative. All right, and then I want to take this piece off and this piece off. All right, now I'm just going to fold these two pieces in. I'm going to pick these two pieces up, and then what I want to do is I want to square off this corner right here. I want to make that nice and square. Tip this up, push that side in, tip it up, line up my score line, and wrap this around. And when you put it on the back, make sure that you've got to where it's above the bottom, this flat piece, or your container will not stand up right. It will fall over, and that is annoying. So it's worth taking the extra time to square this up while you're assembling it. And then we'll put that there. I must have missed something there. There we go. With that, and there we have our storage case, and the 6x6 paper just slides right in. See there? Mine won't stand up. I think they're too thin, but when they're in like a bookmark, they do stand up. The last step is optional. You can write on the side. If you write on the side, you want to do that before assembling, but I use my label maker. And instead of using this for my 6x6 paper, because I've already created all of those storage cases, I thought, why not make one for my card inserts, because they tend to just lay on the shelf. And this way they're a little more protected. So I take this, I put it on my side. It doesn't matter which side you put it on. I guess it would depend on what direction your storage is, as to whether or not you put it on the left or the right. All right, so get that on there. And then here are my card inserts, and they fit nicely in there. So that is the first one. And you can see, compare mine to the one that I showed you that Rhonda did. You see it's just a slight variation, but we call that casing. Copy and share everything, or copy and slightly edit, which I slightly edited. And I just think it gives it a cleaner look. So now for my next one, oh, to back up. So if you wanted, you could take the back, and how the back has everything, all the colors, the name, the code. You could take this and adhere it to the back. If you do that, then when you're finished, you might have to throw it away because your next set of paper is not going to match. Whereas if you leave this off and just keep it inside, then you can reuse this because this peels off really. It's pretty easy. So my next trick is to show you how to take this 12 by 12 sheet and get the same container with all of this information on the back. This part down here will be hidden, but I don't think that really matters because your code's going to change with the paper anyway. So to start with this one, I'm going to open up my arm. This is a long sheet of paper. Open up my arm, and I'm going to cut. My first cut, I'm going to put this at 1 1/4 to cut off the bottom. And what this is going to do is it's going to push everything up so that all of this is still visible on the back. So I cut off 1 1/4. Then I'm going to push it all the way to the 9-inch mark. And the 9-inch mark will cut enough of it off of the top that it's still, when it's finished, it is still a 6 by 6 piece. Then I can put my arm away. And now I'm going to repeat the process of scoring on all 3 sides. On this one, I'm going to score at 2 3/8. Hopefully I won't cut it. 2 3/8. And you might want to go over it a couple of times just because it's a very thick cardstock. 2 3/8, and then 2 7/8 on all 3 sides. So turn it 2 3/8 and 2 7/8. And see, it puts it just above or just below this print. And then my final side, 2 3/8 and 2 7/8. And then again, I'm going to turn it and cut my lines. I want to put my score line in the groove, and I'm going to cut all the way to this second score line, and then I'll come up here and come into this second score line. Lift my blade a little bit, bring it in, and then I'll slide it over to the next score line, put that one in the groove, and repeat the process. Bring it down. Okay, then again, I'm going to take my snips and cut off this little tab. There's that one. If I turn it this way, do it easier. Yeah. And that one. Then I'm going to put it back in my trimmer, and I'm going to line it up at 3 7/8 and put in tick marks, 3 7/8 on both ends. See there? And then again, I'm going to line up the tick mark and my first score line in the groove. Cut that one off. Turn it. Again, my first score line and my tick mark. Score line and the tick mark in the groove. And if they're not exact, it's okay. It's just, it might be a hair off, and that's okay. It'll still work. Okay, so we are finished with the trimmer. I'm going to go ahead and put my tape on before I burnish my seams this time. And I'm going to put this again, just a little bit right here to hold this flap once it's in place. Flip it over to this side. And then I'm going to flip the whole thing over, and I'm going to put tape from this first score line all the way out on both sides, top and bottom. And what's nice about this one is if you like to pre-cut your paper to the 12 by 12 down to 6 by 6, you could do that. Or if you have scraps that are smaller than 6 by 6, you could absolutely cut them and store them in these pockets. And it's just a fun way to make everything nice and organized, which is what I'm all about. All right, we'll put this here and then do both sides. Top and bottom. Put tape on there, top and bottom. If you have made this along with me, or if you make it after the video on a replay, I would love to see your creations and how you've organized your before and afters. Those are always inspiring to see your before and afters. All right, so now we're to the point of just peeling off our protective strips. Setting those, oh wait, no we're not, sorry. Ignore that I did that. We want to burnish first. That would be a mess to try to burnish with protective strips off. So, sorry about that. All right, let's get these out of the way first. Anyway, as I was saying, it's always fun to see before and afters, to see your progress. It encourages you to clean other areas. It encourages other people, challenges them to organize their stuff, and it gives them ideas on different ways to organize. So if you do something fun like that, please share it. I now have it burnished and we're going to finish taking off our protective edges. All right, just peel all of these off. Do the same on the other side. And what's fun about this one is the label is already on the back, so you don't have to add anything. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up, make sure that my corner there is squared up, and then I'm going to put this on, fold it around, and then when I put this on, I want to make sure that it is not sticking below the bottom. Push it down. Let's see what I'm saying. This here is covered. Well, we don't use the foreign language. If you do, you could cut this tab down to, let's see, cut it down to 1 3/4. No, cut it down. Yes, cut it down to 1 3/4 or 1 1/2 if you want to be able to see all of that. That would work just as well. So do the same thing on this side. Line up my edge. Flip this around. And then let's go ahead and cut that. What did I say that was? 1 3/4. Let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. 1 3/4. Then I'll have to put another piece of tape on the edge to hold it in place. But that's okay, that's a quick fix. And then we'll just see what it looks like. That way you can see the entire back, including the item number, in case you want to order more. Oop. All right. Yeah, see, if you cut it at 1 3/4 or maybe at 2 inches, you would have plenty of room and it will still show the whole side. So anyway, so there it is in a 12 by 12 with all of your information visible. The colors, the size, all of it is visible. And then again, if you want it right on it, do it before you assemble. If not, you can use a label maker. So there you have it, 2 different ways to make this storage units. 6 by 6 using a 6 by 6. This is 8.5 by 11, and then 6 by 6 made from a 12 by 12. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, would you give it a thumbs up and share it? Subscribe to my channel. And then if you want more tips and tricks, you can also follow me on Facebook at Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts. Thank you and have a great day.